Paul, absolute pleasure to meet you.
Likewise.
This is awesome. So when I first walked in here, I wasn't aware that you'd launched this. And I sort of glanced at it from the corner of my eye, and I thought, at first, is that a 765, that's loud, LT Spyder?
Yeah.
Then I realised you removed the roof off a McLaren P1.
We did.
Tell me a little bit about this project.
So the project came about, a client approached Dean Lanzante to see if it was possible to do a P1 Spyder for them.
I already want to meet this guy.
I know. So pretty ballsy decision. But yeah, he basically approached Dean. Dean went away, looked at the sort of, whether it was feasible. He then contacted me, knowing that it was my theme that was selected for the original car, and sort of the exterior designer on it. So he approached me. Did I think I could sort of make it work and make it look good? Yes. I thought, I reckon I can, and it kind of went from there. And they basically had to supply a donor car to.
It's a wild concept, this.
I know,
right?
it is.
So I mean, just the challenge of taking the roof off a P1, was it ever considered back in the day when you were working on it originally?
Not that I was aware of. No, I mean, it was when we worked on it originally with the team, it was so focused on the concept of the P1. It was closed roof. Obviously you got the monocell or monocell 2. And it was very much considered as that is the car. There was never any inkling of we're going to do a Spyder. It was just never even thought about it.
Right.
You're trying to achieve the goal of the greatest car there's ever been that we could. Yeah, and we knew obviously at the time we knew Ferrari and that were up to something. We didn't know what they were doing, so you obviously just pushing the boundaries to try and make it as good as you can.
Sure.
So there was never any inkling back then as to what you would do, but. The challenges in terms of the car, obviously taking the roof off is quite a big one.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, I mean obviously you get the central snorkel for the air intake on P1. But what it does, can I go fast?
Live show guys.
The air goes through the central snorkel, but then it diverts down to a Y, and both air filters are in the B pillar anyway.
Okay.
On a coupe, so. It actually made quite a bit of sense. We wanted to keep it super clean. We could have done a snorkel in the middle, but it wouldn't have made sense because you would have had to divert the air sideways anyway because the air filter's there. So actually, you get a much cleaner design. We think we probably need to push this surface in a little bit more to get enough air in.
Yes.
It's the first physical car we've built, so we've actually, need to have a look at that a bit more. There's a few details to sort of work out, but that was obviously the main thing is cutting the monocell up was a big deal. So
what was that like the day a P1 rolls in and we go, right lads, this is what we're going to do?
I don't know, luckily I wasn't there when it happened, so I have to ask the guys who built it, the absolute heroes who built it. They've done such an amazing job of building it. We've obviously, myself and the guy who did the earliest modelling, he's an awesome modeller, and we've done a pretty good job of doing that. But then the guys who built it, they've done an incredible job. So
see, it makes sense now that because you worked on the original car.
Yeah.
When I first saw it, I was like, it looks OEM, it looks a factory finish.
Yeah,
this makes sense now.
I mean, that's kind of what Dean wanted. That sort of look, and for me, it was. It's like muscle memory, when you're designing a car, you draw it so many times, and I've obviously, I still, I paint them painted quite a few for customers, so I kind of, I know the design inside out, and I knew roughly when he spoke to me, I was like, I kind of know roughly what we'd do, things like, so I'll just run through the design if you want. So
yes.
You've got, on the body side, you've got that kick with the sort of exposed air ducts for the radiators. That's a big design feature of the P1. That is the exposed, that is the duct for the air intake. Stunning. So that kick, I was like, okay, well we can mirror that in there. We get an air intake in there for the engine air intake, but that's got a symmetry through there. And the whole original concept for the car was, organic fluidity, layering, these soft forms draped over really sort of technical carbon aerodynamic parts. I thought that would really actually enhance that theory. The layering, you can create a layer here. You've got a dark roof, which on the standard coupe is its body colour. Yes. So what that also does is visually reduce the height of the car.
Right.
So it actually looks
It
slimmer, longer.
Looks almost a sleeker version of itself.
Yeah, and then you've got that line that comes around the cowl, up and over and round, and you've got a full loop, all the way around. So it's a flowing, sinuous sort of loop through the car. And then even down to the rear deck, it's a case of, again, we know the function that's required. the exhaust system, obviously, twin turbo, it gets super hot. This deck is so low on a P1.
Yes.
It's one of the incredible features of the car. So there's air flowing through here to basically cool the bodywork because the exhaust is under there.
Yes.
So again, we need to have that same theory. So it was a case of designing a deck that was in harmony with the rest of the forms, which is what you do in the first place anyway. So it was just oversimplify it, but it's kind of it was a very very smooth process, and Dean and the guys were very much on the same page all the way through. So it was it worked really well. So
it's sculpturally gorgeous. It
Thank
really
you,
is.
yeah.
I'm not sure if the camera's picking up on just how much depth there is in this.
Yeah. Again, there's a bit more work to do. Yeah, we've
rear
got
has changed though as
so
a result of this.
Probably around there. I think we had to come up into
Wow,
when
okay.
when it's changed, it's like tenths of millimeters.
Sure.
But with a fillet through there,
yes.
although it might look like it's changed here, the change will start back here. Otherwise, you get a big divot in the surface.
Yes.
So when it looks like it's a minor change, it actually affects
this whole
a lot
clam
of,
here
exactly.
has to change.
So
phenomenal. What a thing. So I'm assuming with it obviously being built around a carbon tub that helped. But was there any structural challenges taking the centre?
So
of the
there's obviously
roof out?
there are. We've got to have to reinforce and strengthen the base of the A pillar.
Yes.
But really, it's no different to a 765 because the base tub is very similar.
Yes.
From P1 to 765 or 720 or 650. So the common architecture is there. So actually, the logic there is.
So weirdly, perfect car for it.
Funny that, isn't it?
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So obviously on the original, the doors would pivot sort of part off the roof line.
Yes.
What kind of challenge was that?
So
then?
that
I'm
is a
assuming
huge.
with moving
Yeah, I
down
mean
here.
that is a big challenge.
And what's when I say production run, how many of these aren't you making?
Well, as I say, this was a client request, so this is the one car. But there's been an agreement that if there are another 4 people who want one doing, there you go.
Yeah.
Then the Lanzante will build them, but no more than 5 total.
No more than 5 cars.
Yeah.
Wow. So there's I mean P1s are exclusive, but this is taking it to a totally different level, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely fantastic. Well, honestly, I mean, I say this a lot on the channel. Camera's not doing it justice. The sculpture's awesome. This is the man. Listen, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure finding out more, and I can't wait to see it hit the road. Man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Brilliant.
it'll be good. Cool.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.